Hello everybody, dear friends, English-speaking followers, clients and astrology lovers. Here is Olga from sunny Costa Rica. Yeah, it's more and more sunny because we are coming to the end of tropical winter. We have less and less of rains and the weather is just gorgeous. I'm in a very good mood today, not only because of the excellent, gorgeous weather, but because I have very good news for you today. As I promised you the last time in the latest video, which was very heavy and intense and long, that I will have good news for you the next time. So the last time I spoke about the new moon in Scorpio, the new moon that was corresponding to the middle point between the eclipses of August 2017, the past eclipses, and the future eclipses of winter 2018. All this is behind. The new moon in Scorpio and at the middle point of the eclipses is behind, and we must expect the greatest activity for the period from November 21st until November 28th. I mean, all the week that I'm going to cover today is extremely positive, full of many harmonious aspects that will be formed between the planets, in addition to the growing moon, to the phase of the lunar month, which is the growing moon, because we just lived, like this weekend when I record the video, the new moon. I hope that you chose the right strategy or behavior during the week of the new moon. I would like to remind you that on the 22nd of November, when the sun will leave the sign of Scorpio and will enter Sagittarius. But until the 22nd of November, while the sun still is passing by the sign of Scorpio, and while the sun is still in the orb of the square to the eclipses, past and future, in general will be occupied, or will be still occupied by internal contradictions and external challenges related to the topics of resources, finances, mutual exchanges of resources. Why the issues that hinder our development? These are the key words of Scorpio. You remember that during the month of November we had a stellium in Scorpio. We had the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter in Scorpio, right? The energies of Scorpio were very present around us in our life, but this is almost over. But the sun will be in Scorpio until the 22nd, so these themes that concern the sign of Scorpio will still be a little bit active in our everyday life. And I would like to recall you the very last time, that in November the themes of the past eclipses of August 2017 and the themes of the future eclipses of winter 2018, they reappeared in our lives. Why the themes of the future eclipse? Because the eclipses in January, February 2018 will take place on the same axis, Leo Aquarius. The nodes will not change the sign for the moment. They will still be active. They will be the part of the eclipses, the nodes, on the axis Leo Aquarius. What are these themes, these subjects? Self-realization and the realization of our own potential, progressive renewal of our lives, the questions of love, children, creativity, reunification with like-minded people. I strongly advise, for those who didn't watch my videos on the eclipses of August, you can find them in the list of my videos, the eclipses of August, where there are two videos where I talk about the significance of the axis Leo Aquarius. because the same axis will be activated in winter 2018, but you have to check whether the axis of eclipses is projected to another axis of your houses of your chart. For example, in my case, the houses 1, 7 are still activated in the winter 2018. Yes, the first and the seventh house. Maybe for you, the houses will be shifted. You know, maybe in your case, the axis of the sign stays the same, but the axis of the houses in your personal birth chart may change. Check this, please. But you can still watch, read and watch videos about the eclipses on the axis Leo Aquarius. So in November, why November was so difficult for most of us? Because at the moment of the midpoint between the eclipses, the midpoint that was corresponding to the full moon of the 4th of November and to the new moon of the 18th of November, the same questions were revived, the questions of eclipses. They reappeared on the surface, but it happened in the context of the need to resolve internal contradictions, to eliminate hidden obstacles that hinder our evolution. These questions reappeared in our life in the atmosphere of conflicts and critical situations because it was the square. The position of the Sun now in Scorpio formed the Sun in Scorpio formed the square to the Sun in Leo. In Leo, you know, where the Sun was during the both eclipses of August. Today, during the first days of the upcoming week, the most of the situations in which we will find ourselves until the 22nd of November will be controversial and complex. We will have to dive entirely in them, and even maybe even risk to be stuck there. And as always, there are two options of evolution. Either we get totally bogged down in what is happening because we didn't resolve the issues, the problems, the questions of the houses that correspond to the eclipses, right? In our personal case, or if we change irreversibly, we get to the heart of the problem by solving it. And in the second case, we turn the page, we say goodbye to these problems, and we getting ready for the next 3 months of a new life for us before to enter to the period of another couple of eclipses in the beginning of the next year. Yes. So until the 22nd of November, the Sun is in Scorpio and is still in the orb of the square to the point of eclipses. This is almost over. And with the transit, this difficult period of our life, with the transit of the Sun into the sign of Sagittarius, all the week after the 22nd of November, we can expect a more active, extroverted, optimistic period of our life. Finally, of course, we are tired of these heavy energies of Scorpio. Our focus will be we'll focus on finding new opportunities and new experiences, and on the situations in which we find ourselves. We express great in the situations when and where we can realize our projects, with a big optimism. We will be oriented more towards development, expansion, enlargement of connections and contacts, towards work with concepts and ideas. These are the key words of Sagittarius. Issues related to long journeys, faraway countries, travel, education, especially higher education. Questions related to sharing information about us, ourselves, and about our projects with the surrounding world, issues related to social progress will be in the focus of our attention, of course. In addition to the ingression of the Sun to the Sagittarius, the sign will host a stellium. You remember in November we had a stellium in Scorpio. We had a couple of planets in the sign. Now, starting from the 22nd of November, Mercury, Sun, and Saturn will be in Sagittarius. And this stellium will last until December 21st. The intensity and caution of Scorpio will be replaced by the enthusiasm and optimism of Sagittarius. It will be a period of easier contacts and of a more optimistic view of things, vision of things. This is like general atmosphere, general context. Two gorgeous, harmonious, constructive, joyful aspects. The sextile Venus-Pluto, which will be exact on the 21st, on Tuesday, in its orb between November 18th and 24th. The sextile Venus-Pluto will stimulate our activity in the spheres, in the fields of our interest, will stimulate love and partnership, spheres of life, and exchanges with people that we love. This is the moment of the creative growth for people of art and for psychologists also. And of course, this will be the time of the flourishing of femininity, when you can be, women will be able to express fully their femininity. Sextile Venus-Pluto. Another gorgeous aspect, trine Mercury-Uranus, which will be exact on the 25th, but in its orb between November 20th and 30th. The trine Uranus-Mercury will contribute to the success in learning and in communication, paving the way for new knowledge, new ideas, and new ways of interaction between people, with other people. Isn't it beautiful? We have to get advantage of this extremely positive and constructive week that is coming up. I mentioned the last time and the time before the background aspect of November, the trine between Neptune and Pisces and Jupiter and Scorpio, which will be exact on the 3rd of December, but of course in its orb during the entire month of November. This aspect, trine Jupiter and Neptune, may reinforce our inclination for excessive optimism in the assessments of prospects, hence the risk of losing caution, risk of bad evaluation of limits, boundaries, and standards in business and decision making. This can lead to disappointments, mistakes, and to the collapse of our hopes and plans and projects, because this is a very relaxing aspect, the trine, especially between the two planets in water signs. But we can use the inspiring impact, because it has also positive inspiring impact of the aspect constructively, of course. If we do not lose contact with the reality, then we will get powerful support and opportunities for expansion and realization of our plans in society will open to us. Of course, first of all, this aspect is good. It will define a good time for philosophical and religious research. The aspect raises the level of education, fosters the broadening of spiritual horizons and of cultural vision. Fruitful moment for musicians, poets, artists, public figures, volunteers, preachers, as well for travelers and researchers. It's a time of a deeper understanding of religious, spiritual, and mystical issues. Check in your birth chart if the transit Neptune and Jupiter touch your form conjunction with your planets in your birth chart, as well with the angular houses, ascendant, descendant, 4th house, the 10th house. As you can see, the title of my video is Saturn Says Goodbye to Uranus. We remember that on November 11th, the trine Uranus in Aries, Saturn in Sagittarius was exact, right? And I spoke about this aspect for the past 3 weeks, I think. You can get back to this video, you can find it, this video, and watch it if you didn't do it. During the first half of November, we were able, I hope for us, that we were able to unexpectedly resolve some of the problems that had lasted in our lives for the past couple of years. Yeah, you can watch the video when I talk about more details about this trine Saturn Uranus. But this trine was the last farewell aspect of Saturn to another slow planet, not just to, because Saturn can form an aspect to the Moon, to Mercury, to Venus, but here we talk about another slow planet before its transit to Capricorn on December 19th. And that is why this transit offered us the solution of the problems related to the construction of long-standing structures in the field of education, culture, ideas, and concepts, in all matters concerning foreign countries, legal issues, and social progress. And these are the key words for Saturn in Sagittarius. Yes, think about that. Each time when Saturn passes through the last degrees of the sign in which it has been for the last 2.5 years, the tasks that have been defined by Saturn in the sign, are finally accomplished. The themes and the long-term topics determined by Saturn's position in a particular sign, in our case Sagittarius, are finally completed. They come to the end. So that means that the entire period, the month of November, when we were in the orb of the trine Saturn Uranus, and a part of December before the change of the sign by Saturn, before it enters in Capricorn, will be distinguished from this point of view. So the themes of Sagittarius, the themes of Saturn and Sagittarius will be the part of our main preoccupation of our life. It will be in the focus of our attention, and I will prepare a separate video where I will talk in more details about the transit of Saturn by the sign of Capricorn, because it's a major transit. That's why I want to dedicate a separate video on the will focus more in details, yes, on the subject. Another major astrological event, phenomena, Mercury will be retrograde from December 3rd until December 23rd, but it will be in the loop of this retrograde phase from November 14th, it already started, to January 11th. The loop is the period of time when the planet starts slowing down, starts its static phase. Then there is the retrograde phase, then the second static phase, and the end of the static phase, and the movement forward, direct movement in the normal speed. Okay, so from the 14th of November already it started, we will experience the phase of final realization of our recent projects and short-term ideas. And additional characteristics of this period is that our ways of establishing relationships will be with outside world and with other people will require changes. It is precisely from the second half of November, and especially from the end of the month, that we will see delays and obstacles in the implementation of our plans related to the opening of new horizons, to travel, to the expansion of relationships, to new opportunities, Mercury and Sagittarius, these are the keywords. And this will be the proof that the time of reorientation in communication and studies has arrived. It's time to reconsider the way we communicate, the way we exchange with others, the way we teach, learn and teach, and what we learn and what we teach. Old approaches and models of communication don't work anymore. That's why we need retrograde phases of planets that can be retrograde. It's not just about obstacles and delays and when everything is blocked, when everything is against us. We need retrograde phases of the planets. In this case, we talk about Mercury, and I'll prepare a separate video rich of information, okay, about the loop, about the all this very long period of almost 2 months between from November 14th until January 11th. Okay, so stay tuned. The last thing that I wanted to tell you today is that our Neptune, that was retrograde since the 6th of June 2017, will be direct on the 22nd of November in the 11.28 degree of Pisces. You know, the static phase, yes, can be, since it's a slow planet, the static phase can last for 2 weeks, and these last days of the static Neptune before it gets direct until the 22nd of November will be the days that will highlight our search for creative internal sources, and the static Neptune will bring to the surface old and unresolved issues in the field of feelings and relationships. So it's important for us during the first days of the week to get rid of self-deception and illusions. Static phase of any planet that can be retrograde is even sometimes more difficult than a retrograde phase, because everything is like it's stopped, static. Static Neptune can disrupt our plans and expectations. During its action, there is a high probability of using, buying, selling drugs, chemical weapons, toxic liquids. Well, this is the general interpretation of the position of Neptune in Pisces, okay? Be careful with the drugs, medicine, and other drugs, alcohol also. We will live a high risk of contracting infectious diseases during these 3 days of the upcoming week. The disease accompanied by a sudden rise of temperature and by an inflammatory process. Not only because the Neptune is in the sign of its rulership, it's in the end of its static phase and it will start its direct phase. It's because all this is happening at the moment of the ingression of the Sun into the sign of Sagittarius, into the sign of fire. Don't panic, because I interpret the general, I give a general interpretation of, classical interpretation of the transits, of the aspects and of the phases of planets. If you will not obligatory get sick, because in order to predict a major issue with a major health issue, you have to find confirmations in different techniques of predictions in your personal case, in your personal birth chart. So yes, we have to be vigilant what we take as medicine and alcohol also around the 22nd of November. Why not to take some, to think about these things, but don't panic too much. And the last thing, that the 26th of November, next Sunday, it will be the moon will end its first week, of the lunar month, because on the 18th of November we had the new moon. So on the Sunday, 26th of November, we will enter to the second half, the first half, the second week, the first half of the lunar month. So the moon is growing during the week of November 20th until 26th. We have gorgeous constructive aspects of Venus and Mercury think about the retrograde phase of Mercury, which is not far, which is coming up. This will be the only negative, small negative transit aspect of the week, and the next weekend I will not prepare weekly horoscope. I will prepare during the next 2 weeks 3 major videos on the transit of Saturn by Capricorn, on the retrograde phase of Mercury, and also with a small delay, I'm a little bit late, I decided finally to make this video on the transit of Lilith, the Black Moon, by the sign of Capricorn also, because it's entered Capricorn, Lilith. So stay tuned. Good luck for the next week. Take care of yourself, and I talk to you very soon. Very, very soon. Goodbye.